9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Initiate live stream start. Log detail image activate.
Hello. Is this thing working? Oh, somebody subscribed. That's a good start to the stream. Yeah. So I've never done this before. See how this goes. I'll stop the music. Hang on, and let's give it some of this. What's a good one to start with? Maybe this. So, yeah, I just want to do a nice live stream here. Help any of you guys out that are interested in music production and stuff. And I've got an iPad right in front of me here with the chat, so I can see all the comments coming in. And if any of you've got questions about how I do what I do, or I'll do my best to answer you. So what I've got here, I'm sharing the screen. What I'll do for next time is have another camera in this room up like behind me, so you can sort of see the setup. What I have in front of me, I have like a big 4K screen, which is what you can see down here. But I actually have another widescreen one on top, which has normally got my like the mixer. So you're not seeing that, but when I'm doing anything with that sort of any important stuff, I can make it show on here somehow if I can remember. Oh yeah, I need a different. I need to change that alert. Show mixer, please. Oh, it's putting it up there. That's clever. Well, anyway, yeah, so I can pop a mixer down there. I'm a bit out of practice, actually. I had a good studio session this week, working on another track. Why is it? I put it in view, show mixer, please. There you go. That's what we want. So, I might just leave that down there all the time, actually. So the issues we have here, when I'm showing you what I'm doing, mainly I'll put it on this so you can see a bit more. But I'm running at 4K, so it's going to be... it's quite small, but I can zoom in on any bits I'm doing so you can see the individual stuff. So what I might do here, I've loaded up the project file for the last single I put out, which was flipping at the start of lockdown. Can you hear me, by the way? Is it all coming through? It looks like it is. I think I was a bit loud then. So yeah, I've loaded up the project file for the last single I did, which was a cover of Don't Stand So Close to Me by The Police, except it ended up sounding like a cross between that and I Want My MTV by Dire Straits, so I don't know. So it's a really big project. There's lots of stuff going on. You know what I'm going to do? See what my screen sets are here. See if they're anything sensible. So I can switch between stuff sensibly. So 3 gives us the editing view. 2 gives us that, which is an important one. And then 1... if I put the piano roll away and I unlock it and then lock it again, then I can switch easily between that view and that one. Cool. All right. So I will start by I'll just play it through in the background. Hopefully so I've got the audio directly feeding in to the stream here, but it's also coming out my speakers, so I hope we don't end up with a weird delay. If there is, I'll just put my headphones on, so if the music is sort of doubling up, you can hear it echoing, let me know, and I'll just stick my headphones on. I haven't tested that properly yet. So I can see you guys in the chat, some familiar faces: Jay Willie, Adam Rodazzo, Starglum. Some new subscribers as well, that's cool. Volume's all okay? There is echo. I'm getting one report of there being echo on the audio. I guess if I turn the speakers down, you probably won't get it so much. So the vocals is me singing badly and covered up using vocoder effect there. I'll show you how I did that. Just going to play it all the way through once so you know what we're talking about. This is just a Yeti Nano mic. It's not the world's greatest, but it's nice and close. Ah, thanks for the donation, Uli. Respect. So this is a very synth-heavy track. This was the first song I did with my new Mac Pro. I bought one of those really bloody expensive 2019 Mac Pros. And it handled it like a dream. Like, if we're looking at the CPU here, look at all those cores. They're not even past 25%, and I've got 130 tracks. Oh my god, that's more than anybody sensible would have. So what we've got at the top here, this is my drums. I tend to work this way. This is kicks and snares up in the top, if you can see where my mouse is wiggling around. This is sort of hi-hats and breaks and shakers and stuff. And then I've got swooshes and booms and risers and effects and stuff like that in this section. And then down here is synths and tuney stuff. The brown stuff is bass. I always put my bass in brown. Then the vocoder stuff here is the pink and purple. And then my carrier vocals and a few vocals are all down here at the bottom. A lot of them you can't hear directly, they're fed into the vocoder stuff. How much RAM have I got? I think 48 on this one. I just went with the stock, but then on these new Mac Pros I looked at how many the number of actual sticks you have. It can actually utilise the memory better, so I think I went down a rabbit hole at the time and now I've forgotten, and I did what was best case for me. Yes, the brown note. That's why I put the bass in brown. I hope my voice is loud enough to hear over the music. Yeah, this is the new cheese grater Mac Pro, Falcons and Allies in the chat. So this here is just the sort of rollout section at the end. This is a bit... Oh, it's only 4.5 minutes at this point. You can see... I don't know how many of you are familiar with Logic. And if you can see the resolution enough to read like up close on some of this stuff, I might have to drop the resolution down on the next one if that's a problem. So one thing I started doing recently... I mean, I'd always advise against sort of... Well, would I? People in general would probably advise against being too formulaic in your approach to stuff, but I find a good template can help me get moving on stuff and have a sort of something to work to. So what I did was I created these markers at the very top. I hope you can see my mouse pointer on the screen. Yeah, it looks like you can. So at the very top here, you can have markers in Logic, which are just visual representations of kind of zones, and I've started doing that once I start laying a song out, just to sort of give me a sort of representation of what's happening where, when the breakdown's coming, and it kind of gives you something to work towards as well, so you know like how near completion you are and whatever. So yes, this is a very synthy track. I'm really trying hard to work more simply and have less elements, and this is a very bad example of that. I think what I'll do is sort of go through in each of the sort of the the bundles of sounds, show you how everything's built up. I work with a lot of layering, which works well for me, and like it's how I started a long time ago, how I got like a cleaner sound in the days of like loads of dirty samples and stuff. Was just like I would have breaks but then layer up drum machine sounds that were kind of pure and, you know, covered the full spectrum of whatever I was trying to do. So we can look here if maybe I'll do a little loop on an area and then we can just have it looping. So this is this area. So any of you that I'm kind of assuming you guys know rough stuff about DAWs, digital audio workstation. So this program I use is called Logic, and it's made by Apple. It only runs on Apple Macs. I've got another screen up above this one which has got this on it. The whole screen is just the mixer. I used to work with two monitors left side by side, but I've sort of switched it up in the last few years and this is working a bit better for me. Like now that you can have 4K displays that can just get more stuff on. This is quite hard to sort of see what's going on and where the chat is live. Adam's saying, where do I get a lot of my samples? I've just meticulously built them up over years and years and years, and sort of kept a really organised sample library drive, and backed up a lot. And I also tend to reuse a lot of sort of staple sounds, like little elements, especially in drums and stuff, like, you know, go-to kind of shakers and things, or I'll have ones that I'll dip back into, and even finding from like previous projects, I'll just copy across little patterns and things. And I think on this one actually I lifted some sort of patterns I'd had on some previous stuff, and I think there's a break in here that I originally used in a song of mine called Mercury Skies from donkeys years ago. So what we've got here, we're doing it. So the way this works is what you're looking at here. Each of the lines that goes across horizontally represents, if I'm clicking here on the left, each of these is an element. So that's the first one here is a sub kick. That's a Blue Monday kick. That's a sort of tops kick. This is already a cardinal sin, like layering up kicks, but I'd EQ'd out the parts I wanted, and it helps me to mix better. So if I just go through soloing stuff and zooming in, so the kick here, we've got a low one, which I think is just some. There's actually oh god, that's naughty. Yeah, so I didn't even EQ anything out on this. Yeah, don't do as I say, don't do as I do. So then for some character, I'd added on top of that a bit of a Blue Monday kick there, and then on top of that there's a little toppy kick. The aha is not in the song. That's an alert. Thanks for the follow, DJ Kid Liquid. So my kick is these three different elements. This one here, I'm gonna have to turn it up a bit so I can hear. So you can see on this channel, I've just rolled off all the bass, so it's just got the sort of sharp attack bit. I've put it through an overdrive to give it a bit of grimy stuff, and then compressed it to take out some peaks. I could probably have got away with not having them layered there, but I just ended up doing it. Oh, we've got a sticking note, that's fine. So then these all go in, all my kicks. Oh, I hope we don't keep getting a sticking note. So the kicks here are all going into the same bus. They go to bus 32. So all of they're all sending to the same bus 32, which should be labelled there, kick. Oh gosh, and then I've got some other processing going on there as well. So what I do as you can see, there's an awful lot of faders with loads of stuff going on here. And what I do is later on in the sort of progress of the track, I send all the kicks will go onto one bus, all the snares will go into one, all the shakers will go into another, just so that it's then easier to shift them as a whole group up and down in volume, and then also sidechain things to each other, to duck stuff out to like give, for instance, the bass more room and all the rest of it. So I'll show you sort of the drums just building up here. I guess that's an easy place to start. Although that's not how normally how I'll start a track is with the synths and stuff. The drums I end up putting in later on. Really, that's not how I used to do it, but I enjoy playing the synth stuff more. Right, so I'll just solo the individual bits and layer them up. So you've got the kicks going there. So the snare is built up again, layered with a whole bunch of things. I always put a little white noise in there. I'll turn off the kick so you can hear what's going on with the snares. So a little bit of white noise just coming off the built-in Logic ES1 sampler, just to give it some controllable tops. And then I'll adjust the release on that if I want it to sort of sound a bit longer or shorter. And then what do we got? A snare 2 Verbi. That one. So that's a bit similar. I probably put a transient. No, I didn't. Gosh. Normally I would sort of... you know what I probably did? Yeah, I put transient designer on the whole snare bus. I'm sure if TB or Noisy or somebody's watching this, like, you shouldn't do that. Oh my God. I'm breaking loads of rules already, I'm sure. Then I've got a little clap in there. You can hear that on its own. These are just sort of things to give it a bit more attack and a bit more character. And then here's another thing I do a lot. I've just put in some other snare, and then I've really harshly EQ'd this just to try and boost this snares in there to give it more kind of low end. So I've really tried to give that a shove there, but then filtered out all of the tops and the proper low end so it doesn't interfere with what the rest of them are doing. Then this is a snare from an old break that I used in Mercury Skies, which would be perfectly fine on its own. It was when I made that song that did perfectly well back in the day, but now I seem to overcomplicate things. Somebody says in the chat, Pavel Pavel from Poland says, what's the size of the file that I'm working on? I don't know how many megabytes it is, but the number of tracks, 129. They're not all playing simultaneously, but that's how many plugins and stuff are open. It's mad. Like, I wouldn't have been able to run this on my old Mac Pro before I updated it. So that's most of the snares in there, I think. So we've got the kick and the snare. Okay, and then I've got a little accent, little snappy thing in here. And then some hats start getting layered in. It's nothing too crazy here. And look at what I'm doing here. I'm looking down in this left corner. Whenever I've selected a track on Logic, what's here down in the bottom left is shows you the channel strip for what you're looking at, so then I can see what EQs and things I've got going on. I tend not to really overdo it, apart from if I'm just trying to make a really weird bassy sound or something, do some weird horrible distortions and stuff. So here in this whole section here, it looks to me like it's hats and shakers and stuff. If we zoom in, we can just focus on this. Again, I've probably got too many. The way I tend to work is sort of, instead of just having one hat and just playing a pattern, I'll kind of layer them up with different hat samples, all on different tracks so that I have maximum flexibility. So each one has its own volume that I can change, and I can change the panning on the stereo if I want to, just to give me maximum flexibility and make the horrible task of mixing down a complicated track kind of more easy. So here's some shakers. That's a staple, that one. Bit of tambourines. Then a 909 ride there. Normally I'll filter out the lows on that, but it sounds like wherever I got that one from, they'd already done it. Generally, if something is just operating in the tops, I'll just filter out the bass anyway, just to reduce any random accumulating mud. Paul Robinson saying, is that on an iMac or a MacBook Pro? Neither. It's on a Mac Pro. I think I've already said that. Maybe you're just trolling me. No, I bought one of those really badass new Mac Pros on a credit card in February, and then COVID happened, which stopped all the money coming in, so it became a bit scary. But I'm gradually paying it off, and it does just make being able to work in the studio so much easier. So I'm finally not like battling against processing power or anything like that. So then there's another one here, Splashy Break. I think that's from a Blue Marten sample pack or something. This one I'm sure I EQ'd, yeah. So I've really just completely removed all the low end off that, and also the sort of harsh tops. Just sort of, I'm just working to my ears and how I think it sounds right, and trying to get things to fill in gaps that I want filling in here. So this is all the shakers and splashy stuff going on. There's a little rimmy drum loop there, and then we've got an Amen break, which again, like, it's going through a compressor for the millionth time, like whatever Amen samples you've got. Yeah, so again, I wanted it to fill in a bit of the mids, bit of movement there, but didn't want it to be interfering with the sort of crisper tops that was coming from those hi-hats. And then I've got a little bit of an edited break that I think is sort of sliced out of Joy Division. So there you go. I think that's most of the drums. I tend to, once I've got to that point, like nowadays, I would be a lot more. Anything I was producing now, I'd be a lot more strict and really try to keep. Stop it with the flipping. I think that's because there's a sort of guitar bass I have somewhere, and the notes are stained, and then it goes through a compressor and just gets stuck. Yeah, let's zoom out a bit. Yeah, it'd be funny if the computer crashed here after I've been telling you how wonderful the Mac is. So yeah, just check the chat. Have I sorted the car out, says Chris. 0191, is that someone up north? I have, yeah. For those of you who don't know, my car got written off, I think it was a month ago. Yeah, it was a month ago now, because I emailed the police saying what's going on here. Yeah, some idiot, my house is sort of on a bit of a corner, and some idiot lost control and crashed into my car, and then just pissed off and drove off, and then hid his car in a local pub car park, leaving me with a written off lovely car that I've loved and looked after for years. And I ran and found the car that they dumped, so I got the number plate, and luckily the driver admitted responsibility and told his insurance and everything, so I got an insurance payout for our old car, and it got written off, but they didn't really give us much money for it at all. And my old car was perfectly fine, and I was happy driving that for another 10 years. It was a nice old BMW, but I've had it for 15 years and always serviced it really well, and they can run for donkey's years. So it was really economical motoring. I'm not a big car poser guy, so I was perfectly happy driving around an old car that was kind of cool in its own way. So we basically got like $3,000 off insurance, and I've had to finance the rest to get a newer car, which is really nice. We got a BMW Estate, like a few years old, not a brand new one or anything. So it's got a bigger trunk, which is really useful for all the allotment stuff I do. And that's all finally dealt with. I've managed to move I've got a private number plate that says D&B on it. I got that finalised yesterday, so it's all done and dusted now. All the insurance stuff's dealt with, so I've just got to earn some money to pay it off. But yeah, that was a real pain in the arse, and the financial vibes with the car getting destroyed is one thing, but it's just the amount of time it took me dealing with the various levels of finding out what happened, finding the other car, talking to the insurance about it, arguing with our insurance about how much they were going to pay me for the old car, talking to the police, finding out what the police are doing, which they just said they're investigating. So I don't know. But yeah, in answer to your question, I got the car sorted out. It was still very expensive for us. It's my first experience of something like that, because I always just sort of assumed, when your car gets in a crash and it's written off, you get enough money to buy a new car, and doesn't really matter or whatever. But if you're driving an older car, they just give you kind of what your older car was worth according to how old it is and the number of miles and that. Which you can't really buy a nice, reliable new car for, so you're kind of stuffed. So, anyway, back to the music. So if you look at how I lay stuff out here, as I said before, all of the purple, I try to colour code stuff as best I can, but Logic is mad. I wish they gave you more colour. I mean, they only give you as many colours as colours exist. But this is the palette you get, and I don't know, they can't have more shades. You can't have there's no greys. You can't have shades of grey or anything. There's no red there. But it's so anyway. So I try to sort of colour things, especially once I'm getting to the later stages in the track where I'm mixing stuff down. And the bigger, more of a clusterfucky track you get, you need to know what you're doing. And if you're working with someone else as well, it becomes more and more difficult. So I try to name things correctly and give them colour codes. So all the purple stuff there at the top are the kicks all layered up. This stuff here is sort of mainly the snares and a few hats. And then these are mainly hats and shakers and stuff. And then we've got some breaks and stuff. The intro will be quite interesting to show you, hopefully, because I've got the breaks are kind of, I bounced some of them down, I think, like this one here. Yeah, so that's a break, which I've automated the low frequency on. So you possibly, is it affecting this? Am I on the right channel? Am I not? I'm not. Here we go. Yeah, so this line here is an automation of basically like turning the knob, filtering it. So you can see here it's going down, so I'm progressively like letting more bass in, which isn't really what you'd be doing, but also letting more tops up. So that's to help sort of create sort of riser effect in that part of the intro. Those are all the sorts of things I start to add in the later stages of the track. The way I usually do things is sort of get a main loop together, get the nowadays the things I usually start with is the same blimmin' synth. They're like a dum 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 dum. Where are you? Come on, where's the dum 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 dum? Yeah, it's always this. Always seem to use that preset like that. And then sort of go from there and just noodle around, playing around on the synths, and so if we maybe I'll just play you a bit of the intro and we can see how I sort of brought the elements in. So yeah, so you've got that single note of the bass there, and I'm automating the VCF cutoff on it, so you can hear how the bass is sort of more muted, and then as it comes up here, it's gradually like opening up the filter. Hope this is all sounding okay and coming through. This is the first time I've done one of these studio sessions, but I'm planning on doing them every week as part of like a new sort of weekly schedule for streaming stuff. Figure I should be doing it a lot more nowadays, seeing as we're still in COVID. Oh, hi James, Specialist Sound in the mix. Yeah, we love the CS80. That's in there somewhere. So the lead synth that's coming in there, I called the Casualty synth to help me find it wherever it bloody is. Because there's a TV show in the UK in a hospital called Casualty, and like the theme tune uses a similar synth. So you can see where there's these graph lines, that's the automation, which can be automating changes in any stuff like volumes or any type of effects you're doing. It's like basically changing the knobs. So this is the Casualty synth. So it's the filter cutoff that's being automated there. So you'll see at the end of this loop section, it'll then drop down. The phone. Oh, there's someone subscribed. Who is that? MaxDoc7. Thank you. Yeah, whenever you hear these alerts, and they should be popping up on the screen. That's because a very nice person has subscribed or done a donation or something, which is cool because it sends me a bit of money. It'll help pay off my Mac Pro. So what are we looking at here in the intro? I'll loop a little. So I've got this thing here called Robots Boop. I think I bounced that in place. Yeah, it's just a sort of sine wave. Sounds like the one in Kraftwerk. Robots. What else have we got? Oh, there's a really nice choir here. I love this. Is a preset I just found on the Omnisphere, I think. An amazing synth from Spectrasonics, which I don't use enough, but whenever I yeah, that's an old sort of Mellotron-y tape loopy. Can I see you, Swat1386? Yes, I can. Have you been asking questions that I haven't answered? No, he just keeps saying hi, bro. From St. Petersburg. Hello, Swat. There you go. I've said hi, okay? Do I love Russia? Yes, I do. Apart from when they're interfering in our politics. That's what's been all over the news today, is Russia's interference in the UK stuff. But I like going to Russia, and I like Russian people. Everyone I've met's cool. So you can interfere as much as you like. Our politics is terrible anyway. So what else have we got? We've got a little arpeggio here. That's undergoing all sorts of filtering as well. What's that? That's coming out of June. Synapse June. God, I hope this doesn't show my serial numbers and shit. People will be ripping off my stuff. Yeah, this is another synth I've been using a lot. Like, just lots of really good presets that I like. I don't know what that preset was. So this is going through a compressor, and you can see it's being automated there. Compressing it just to keep the levels a bit louder and even, and then I use the Logic stereo spreader to make it a bit wider and sort of in your head, and sort of try to make it sit in the mix better. And then you can see here where I've sent it to a bus 2. Yeah, so I have my effects buses set up. We can have a look at them. Number 2, show me the mixer, show me the mixer, show me the mixer, show me the mixer, in the mix, where's the mixer? So here we go, these ones, I have like a template. Whenever I start a new track, it's kind of pre-set up with effects buses and things, so I don't have to, like, every time I make a bloody track and I, do the same sort of thing. So I have a one called Big Reverb. I tend to, because, well, I've still, like, never really made a track on my laptop, but I try to operate in a way where I could, in theory, load this on my laptop. And I mean, everything I've got on this computer I could run on the MacBook Pro 2, although not the big projects, but some of the plugins I've got are kind of locked to USB dongles and things, so I try to stick to stuff that isn't, so that I can load it on my laptop without an issue. So I kind of stick to simple, like, suites of either, like, the built-in plugins from Logic, or I use the Native Instruments Complete set of plugins a lot, mainly for the effects and stuff, because for the sampling I use the built-in Logic one. Thanks for the follow, Singy, on Twitch. I can see some more comments coming in here. I'll have a look in a minute. So yeah, the green ones here on the mixer at the bottom, the dark green one. So I've got Big Reverb, I've got a delay which is like synchronized to the BPM. Then I've got an even bigger reverb. Then I've got a room reverb. Then I've got a dub delay which is like sort of an echo that goes along. And then I've got one for a sidechained reverb. It looks like these two aren't actually used in this track because Logic does a thing where if plugins aren't having anything sent through them or being used, they kind of grey them out. It's sort of a new addition, which was causing me some issues with weird latency and stuff. So you can see all the tracks I've got. I'm pointing at the screen and you can't see what I'm pointing at, but see how much stuff is going on here. Each the top blob here is telling you what the plugin you're using. So there's a lot of just the built-in Logic samplers for all the drums, because it's literally just triggering one sample, and that's sort of the most processor, the easiest way to not use too much processing power. And then I'll just usually have like EQ, compressor, limiters or something, and then sending them to various buses. And then here it shows you what bus the full output is going to. Boo! Mad Docs donated $3. Nice one. Oh, I love these funny like notifications coming up. That's cool. If I have too many of them coming up when I'm doing DJ sets, though, it's going to be weird. So here, and then when it's just audio channels, further down here, a lot of my swooshes and booms and effects and stuff. Here, I'm a big fan of swooshes and booms. These are all just audio files. This was something I put in the intro. Just I found like a sound effect thing of just kids playing in the background, just to sort of, don't know, do some like weird psychological messaging, positive vibes or something that you don't really notice in the intro. If I play the intro without, you hardly pick them up, but little stuff like that I quite like doing. It adds a bit of ambience and can sort of subliminally affect you a bit. I used to always put cheers in after the tune dropped as a sort of a rewind feedback loop, so that everyone in the crowd thought everyone else was cheering and calling for the rewind, so everyone started cheering, and then the DJ would be like, oh, they like this one, and then do a rewind, which then in turn makes the tune more popular. It's like sort of a weird bit of social engineering. So there we've got a bit of a snare fill in there, those in the green section there. Oh, that was something nice I noticed in Logic, a little, I mean, some of these things I just haven't done so in the past. So this is the sort of keyboardy edit view, and it's got its own automation in it, which is brilliant, and I hadn't done before. And you can add like the MIDI volume. Did I do that on here? Or oh, maybe I learned it after this. But basically, if you're trying to do a snare roll going louder, I would always sort of play it in manually and then kind of draw each one. But you can just, with this, you can automate the MIDI channel, MIDI volume. Oh, am I looking at the wrong? Oh, maybe I didn't. No, the volume on the mixer stays the same. But yeah, basically you can draw in MIDI volume changes, so it basically automate perfectly if you're big into your OCD stuff, just progressively hitting the key louder, which is useful. But a lot of times I'll actually, if the snare sound doesn't actually change as it gets louder, I'll probably just hit them all triggering at 128, 27 like maximum volume, and then automate that volume change in the mixer in Logic, just so I can go back and change it a bit more easily when I'm doing the mixdown and stuff. A quick look at the chat, what we got going on. So should I play the music in the background a bit so I don't sound too weird? If I turn it down there, it should just play quietly and then you can hear me. How's that? So Basil Al-Mutawa on Facebook saying, in comparison between your analog old school gear from Synth and Sampler and in this DAW Logic being all digital, can we get the same old grit, darkness, warmth and feel with VSTs and digital sounds? Can you? That's the question. Not quite. But you can get damn close, and the huge amount of benefits you get from being able to work fully digitally, I think, outweigh the slight loss of, that analog warmth that I would have got back in the day with outboard stuff. But of course, if you want to do that, you can feed any of these channels out into outboard effects and bring them back in if you really want to do that. Like, I don't, for what I do, it's not a limiting factor to my stuff sounding good. Like, I've got enough other battles to like go through to get stuff sounding good, where sort of adding some weird analog warmth through something, it would just take up more of my time and I'd lose interest. And my main issue is just sort of sitting here doing this and getting going and getting something down. So I ditched like using analog stuff a long time ago just for convenience and to try to be able to increase productivity. It didn't really increase my productivity, but it's nice to be able to have more than one track on the go and things like that, which I never could when I was working with my old system, where it was all analog, because all of your mixer settings were all, physically set where they were. So if you were working on a mixdown, once you'd recorded it onto DAT, you were done. And if you'd started a new track and reset everything, you'd have to kind of start all over again. So Jim Dude on Twitch, I think that's my friend Jim Meacock. I might be wrong, but I think it might be. Says he needs to start making templates. Yeah, I do really recommend them. I've had on my to-do list for a long time to kind of make a fresh one since I'm going to turn my fan on. To sort of, I still work the same as I used to, and my current template works all right, but it does save you so much time, so that when you start a new track, you've got the basics already laid out there. Just a whole bunch of software instruments already laid out, like labeled as kick and snare and hats and shakers, things that you'll always use, and you've just already got a sampler instrument loaded, even with like a basic thing, and have a piano there just so you can quickly play some notes and like get some ideas down. And then I also have a folder in my sample library of like staples of swooshes and booms and crashes and things that I would usually use a little bit somewhere. So what else have we got? Another question about the template from Dave on Facebook. When you have a template for Logic, do you have a set synths, plugins, channels all organized as well as you? Yeah, I maybe on another session, maybe like next week's one, that might be a good reason for me to sort out a new template and like tweak it a bit. But yeah, I have all the effects sends buses sorted. I have these markers up at the top done, and I'll have the sort of standard things I'll always draw for, like a sub bass, few tracks, bass 1, bass 2, bass 3. The aux sends. I used to have the same stuff on the master channel as well, but I've recently found that even when they're bypassed, it introduces some weird latency, so I've had to remove that. So yeah, what we're saying, play music please, says McPie. Okay. Here's some music. Yeah, so let's turn this up. So you've got the counter melody going there. There's 2 layered up, both out of June. See little notes playing. Lots of reverb on there. I'm sure people would frown upon that. God, my face looks really red. So if we look at the strings here, we've got just a very high pad there. That sounds like a CS. Oh, it's a June. I used loads of June on this one. And then just a little high note to give it some movement with the echoes. If I loop this section, we can see the clusterfuck of synths I've got going on. Just a nice sustained string. Oh, that's got some automation on the high cut frequency there. The bass is probably an important one, even though the bass on this track isn't that good. It's quite a nice transition there. I think that's one of my strong points usually, is the movement from like everything going to a kind of a breakdown. you can hear there, like in the run up to that breakdown there's a combination of lots of these elements slowly fading down or being slowly filtered out, either the bass being rolled off or the high end being rolled off, or vice versa. And then there's swooshes and booms and stuff. One thing I did on this one that's a trick I've done for donkey's years, if we go through here, you can see the drums up here in this section. I've muted all of those and bounced them all down to this one section here. So the drums are playing happily, and then this whole audio file is all of the drums, and then I've got that automating reverb send going up into the drop, and then I think that's the bass getting slowly filtered out, and then that's the high end getting filtered down. And then, oh, here's another trick as well. I actually learned this off Break. I heard him say he did it or read about it or something in Logic. So one of the issues you get when you're doing a lot of automation of the volumes on all these tracks, it can get to be a lot to like keep an eye on. I'm trying to zoom in a bit so you can see if there's any more. It's not having it. If there's loads of automation things going on and you lose track, and then you just want to touch the volume up a little bit on a particular thing you're doing, you touch it, but it'll get overridden because there's, you know, a volume automation happening. So the trick to that is you use the gain plugin here, which is just a plugin that goes in on the channel strip, and if you want to just make that track quieter in general, but it will still have the automation of volumes happening later on, you just turn it down a bit with the gain, and then everything else still keeps on happening, and that way you don't have to go through the whole timeline of that track and kind of move it all down a little bit and whatever. So that's very helpful, because I used to do it the other way and just go through all the automations. Right, what else have we got? Give you some swooshes and booms. What we got here? So yeah, in the lead up to that breakdown, so I've got a nice sort of white noise swooshy thing, probably off a Vengeance sample pack or something. Got a boom, just a kick drum with a big long reverb. And then I usually put some sort of crowd applause or something, which functions for a bit of white noise. Sometimes I'll put a light tremolo effect on that as well, so it swings left and right. Gives you sort of a bit of weird disorienting effect in the breakdown. Should we have a look at the bass? Let's have a look at the bass. Where's a good section? So, all the basses here. So that's all of it in its entirety. Pretty muddy, like this is not a hugely good example of bass management. So I've got, what have we got in here? This is the sort of the nice synth one. I'm running that through a compressed EQ to boost it a bit, but cut off the very low end, because what I almost always do is I have some kind of a sine wave bass, just doing a pure sub. Again, to make life easier when it comes to mixdown stuff. So if I feel like it needs more sub, I can just turn up that sub rather than sort of boost the sub on the bass sample or something. And so I put all of these together for that. So then we've got some other random bits of bass that just pop in here, sort of accents, sort of acidy type sounds. Shout out to Postbox Geek in the chat. Hope you're feeling alright, mate. Get some sleep. Turn the mic. I think the mic's a bit too loud, yeah. So I think the accent bass here is this sort of acidy sound that kind of goes wow, wow. Yeah, so that's coming out of massive. Yes, this. With all of these things, I tend to I know what kind of sound I want, and then I sift through all of the presets and found something that's close, and then tweak it to sort of fit exactly what I want. Just looking at the chat. Jim is saying, what synth do I use? An awful lot of them. June 3 I do seem to be coming back to a lot. I really like the Yamaha, the Arturia CS80V, the emulation of the CS80. Nectar Bolt, I like that one. I just finally bought Silent. Is Silent the one? Yeah, Lennar Digital Silent. Yeah, I've never used that, and it was like the go-to donkeys years ago. And I've just finally bit the bullet and bought that, and I haven't used it in anything yet, but that's good. All the Native Instruments stuff, of course, is amazing. There's more sounds there than I'll ever use in my whole lifetime. Shout out to the Bremen crew. Just having a look here at the chat because I've been neglecting it a bit. Cool. Mukpie on YouTube says he's just come from work. He's a nurse. Respect. Good work. Especially at the moment. Swat from Russia keeps on asking me if I like Russian things. Do I like vodka? I never really liked vodka ever, and I quit drinking over 18 months ago, so I definitely don't like it now. When I was drinking alcohol, like wine was what I was into. That was my favourite. But yeah, never, yes. And even when I was in Russia, all those gigs in Russia, there'd been an unlimited supply of vodka, but I never liked it, so I never really had much. So, question from Richard saying, when I'm mixing your kick and bass, do you side chain them or give them their own space? I do, yeah, like I never really did much side chaining back in the day because I didn't work with compressors when I was first starting out. I only got one quite after I'd done a few albums. But yeah, if ever I'm doing any side chaining, the first side chaining I'd do is side chaining the kick and the bass. So I think we'll probably be able to see an example of that here. I did do my very best on this track to try to sensibly mix stuff. I can use my magic touchpad to scroll seamlessly across and zoom in. So hopefully all of my basses are going to the same bus. They're going to bus 37. Where's bus 37? Bus 37, show me the bus. There we go. Oh, it's here. Yeah, so I'm using Isotope Alloy, which is my go-to... Oh, no! Go-to side-chainy compressor. And they didn't give it me free, so I shouldn't be plugging it, but I just like it because it gives you this visual representation of how much side chaining it's doing. So all of the basses here are going into one bus. And I think what I also did with that is possibly did like a bass. One technique I've started doing is like a dirt bus where there's a very famous producer whose surname is Sheps. I think he's called Andrew Sheps, and I watched a video about the techniques he did called the like drums dirt bus. And he basically, once you put all your drums onto one bus, send it to another one and like distort the fuck out of it and really overcompress it and stuff, and run that in parallel next to your other drums, but just very quietly. And because all the harmonics and stuff just boost everything else up, and it just sounds fuller. So I've been experimenting with that a bit, a dirt bus on the drums and the bass. And I think on this one I should have done it, but I can't find. It doesn't look. Oh no, yeah, I did. So the bass here is this channel. So you can see it's being side chained to a kick, which is coming from bus 32. Which will be the bus that is only my kicks. So all of those, remember the purple ones up at the top there, the 3 different kicks I used, they're all going to the same fader down here, which is called kick somewhere, and basically that, whenever the kick happens, it dips the volume of the bass out so that they're not fighting each other, and so the kick has more impact temporarily, so you can hear it. Some people do that manually, like I think TB has talked about it. I don't know if he always does it, but he said sometimes he would actually go through just to have maximum control of stuff, because what you really want is the bass to cut out almost slightly before your kick comes in, so you can really hear the attack of the kick. So in a perfect world you would do that. I've never like bothered or like dabbled in it that much. I can usually fix what I'm trying to fix by just doing this. So I'm not sidechaining it super hardcore. You can see the amount it's bringing the bass down isn't too much. You've got the loop going in the background here. Let me know if it's driving you mad. So then if I just isolate the bass here, you can see I'm sending it full to bus 15, which is here. There we go. It's called bass dirt. And I'm feeding it through saturator, EQing it up, LFO tool. I wonder if it'll play it without that going. Yeah, so this, what you're hearing now, is just the dirt. Like, it would be crap on its own, because there's no actual bass, because I've EQ'd the low end out. So it's just sort of the low, mid and MIDI bass stuff, just distorted-y, grimy stuff. And then the volume's kind of 50% of everything else's volume, so it's not sounding louder than the actual bass, but it kind of fills in the gaps, and it's sort of all the weird harmonics. There's better ways to do that, I'm sure, but it's something I'm sort of learning and experimenting with a bit more, which I can now because I can run more plugins and things because my computer can handle it. Because before this, I was running a Mac Pro 5.1, which was about 10 years old, and it was powerful, but couldn't handle too much stuff going on. So it was nice things like this I always wished I could do. I just didn't have enough processing. So there you go. Sounds like there's a bit of phasing there. Oh, but that's that the synthy bass. So yeah. So it doesn't sound too bad. I listened to this again fresh the other day, and it sounds good when you're not comparing it to anything else. But the snare sounded a bit weird and unnatural to me. So yeah. Oh, it's an hour. I've done an hour. Cool. I said I would only do an hour. I should maybe play you the vocals, but I'm a bit embarrassed about them. So, all of this... What's that? Motion at my front door. Ooh. Alright, have a quick more look at some questions. Billy Bobble on YouTube is just saying thanks for the music. Well, you're very welcome. I get a lot of enjoyment out of making it, and glad you guys enjoy it too. Nemiko Ramirez on Facebook saying, will there be an Up All Night revisiting? There is, and they've started manufacturing the vinyl actually. I haven't done a remix, but Data 3 did a really, really good one that started as a bootleg, but they sent it to me and were like, we've done this bootleg, what do you think? And I was like, I love it, it's great. And I sent it to Goldie, he loved it. So putting it out. There's also another version that Murdoch did that was a bootleg too, and then I sort of made a bootleg of his bootleg using the different version of Up All Night, and it's sort of very big foghorny bass in that one, and I play that a lot as well, and I really like it, but I think it was decided to not release it because it wasn't, very metalheadsy, but there's that remix around as well. And B-Traits also did a sort of re-edit that's a techno-y one that she played in her Essential mix a couple of years ago, and she sent me that, and I really like that too, and I also sent that to Heads, but I mean it's techno and it's more of a re-edit than a sort of, because none of these guys actually had the remix parts, they just sort of chopped them out of the original. So yeah, but that's so there's new mixes of Up All Night coming out soonish, I think. They kind of, the plans went on hold when lockdown happened, but Ant, who does the label management stuff for Heads as well as running Dispatch, hit me up the other week saying things are starting to get moving again. So when I have release dates and stuff, I'll obviously start plugging it all up, let you all know. Oh yeah, I was going to play these vocals. So I can't sing at all, so I tend to try to cover that fact up by using vocoders. So yeah, so that's my original singing, already going through loads of weird pitchy stuff to try and make it sound better, and then doubled up, and then there you go, that's some vocoder added to it. So vocoders, I love them. This is obviously software vocoders, and it basically blends your voice with whatever synth you're playing. So it's really good for classic robot voices, but you can do it in a really beautiful way like Stevie Wonder does, or go really weird and twisted, take it the other way. So I've used it in a few. I think in Robot Lover I used a vocoder. I think that's probably enough for this track. Is there anything else you wanted me to explain in regards to this project? Yeah, Richard Crowder's, parallel processing. Very, very useful. Joshua Hibbert on YouTube saying, will I make a track from scratch next time? I might do that at some point, but the early stages of track making for me is probably not very exciting to watch, and I probably look a bit lame because I'm just bumbling around. So maybe if there's a way I can do it quickly, so we'll get some faster results, then I might do it, but I think it's better when I've finished a track and I can show you how I've put it together, because it's sort of, we'll get there faster and there'll be sort of more useful stuff to explain. Yes, Ginge MCR has just posted the link to the Andrew Sheps Dirt Bus tutorial. Yes, there's a link in the chat there. That is a very good thing to watch, where he explains what I was talking about, the Dirt Bus. I found that really helpful because my sound can just be really a bit too sterile sometimes, and little tricks like that, and sort of the gluey effect of compressors on. Another thing I'll do, I think, on I didn't mention that on this one. I think I bus together all of the synths and stuff, sent them to their own bus, and then put that all through a bit of a compressor to just sort of glue them all together. And then of course, if they're all on their own bus, you can side chain them a bit to duck out where the snare is in a different kind of side chaining. So that's a useful thing to do too. What else we got going on in the chat? I'll probably knock it on the head soon because I haven't had my dinner. Yeah, this track is called Don't Stand So Close to Me. It's a cover I made of Don't Stand So Close to Me by The Police, except when I was sort of singing it and playing the synth line, it ended up being kind of derivative of I Want My MTV. So, yeah. Oh, we got a subscription. Bill Orion, thanks for the subscription. Boy. I don't know if you've all been seeing the little Twitch Prime things. Oh, I didn't change my camera views. I'd set up all these nice things, and I wanted to be all like, yo, check it out. And this one, I like this one. Hello, I'm stuck in the TV on the beach. Help me. And this one's when I'm making jungle. So I've got the chat up there. Oh gosh. Pursuit D&B's asking if I'll bring back the Senor Juan B tracks. To be honest, I'm a bit embarrassed about them when I listen back now. Some of them, putting on dodgy Spanish accents and all these stereotypes, it ain't appropriate these days at all. So I won't be making anything new like that. There's a few, they still have a special place in my heart and all that, but like the Chihuahua theme and Ay Caramba and stuff like that. But some of them, the vocals are really cringe. But So yeah, probably not. I'd rather be focusing on new stuff. The link got auto removed from chat. Can I repost it? Let's see. This is my first test. Oh no, don't time them out. Copy message. Let's see, will it let me do that? There we go. Yeah, I think the chat moderation features are set up to stop other people from posting links. But I've posted the link there. Great. Oh, that's good. So I've got my iPad in front of me here so I can see the chat. Any more last questions before I go and have my dinner? I'm also, I mean, this is the first time I've done this, and I've been setting up these different screen to swap through. I'm going to put another camera up behind me so you kind of see the view from behind, like of the whole studio. I think that would be nice. Zach says, will I have to pay royalties for this? Yeah, so when you do a cover version, you all of the publishing side goes to the songwriter. So I don't make that much money off songs I make anyway, even when I've written them myself. So it's not like this has sold loads anyway, but yeah, so if it's a cover version, the original songwriter gets all of the songwriting royalties. So you as the cover artist and the label only get the like recording side kind of thing. But anytime it's played on radio or TV or anything like that, I would get none of that money. It all just automatically goes to Sting, which is fine. It's nice to fully understand that, really, and it means I can do more covers. The rules are, though, if you do an adaptation where you've changed the words slightly or the song or something, you're supposed to ask permission from the publisher because you've basically changed their work. So there you go. Should I put my head there like that? Music's still playing, isn't it? Cool. What's for dinner? My wife's made something really nice, a sort of pizza-looking puff pastry thing. I'm starving as well, so I'm just looking at the. Pursuit D&B saying he's Mexican and he loved them. Oh, good, thanks. I'm glad. I'm like, nobody at the time seemed to be offended by it or anything, so I'm glad, like, but yeah, looking back on it now, that's the sort of salsa stuff I did is kind of embarrassing at the very least. Cool. All right, so I think I'll wrap this up now. I've pretty much explained how I did that track. You've heard it. You've heard all the various bits and bobs. We talked about the drums, dirt bus, the bass bus, dirt bus, bit of side chaining, a bit of how I layer up stuff. Didn't really talk about building snares. I'm not really an expert. I know how you're supposed to do it, and I never end up doing it the right way, like the perfect way by the kings of snares, like people like Metric and so on, would say you're supposed to have like a transient, a fundamental, and a tail, and strictly limit it to just those three elements and make sure they don't interfere with each other. So the transient is like provides the snappy attack of the snare drum, the fundamental, the sort of the guts and the sort of power and the punch and the character. And then the tail, I guess, can provide sort of some of the character as well, but like that's where you control kind of how long it is, and the white noisy bit that I usually add in takes care of that for the most part, or I'll have a kind of a snappy thing and add some verb to it. But we can talk about that more next time. I don't want to use up all my ammo and run out of shit to talk about next time. Nice one, James. Big up. Congratulations on passing your exams or the modules or something I saw on the Instagram stuff earlier. You can see in the chat here, James Paredes. I don't know, is that how you pronounce his surname? Records under the name Specialist Sound, and we've released some of his stuff on my label, and he's got lots of cool new music coming too. So give him a follow if you're in the chat and watching this. He's a good bloke. Shout out to Brayman. We've got McPie in there. Thanks, Bilorian. Thanks for the subscribe as well. I think I saw you pop up doing the. Yeah, we need to sort out emotes. I've learned a lot about Twitch lately, and I'm really quite excited to be doing stuff regularly on here. It's taken me the whole duration of lockdown to get to grips with everything, but I wanted to make sure I was doing stuff professionally and properly rather than just jumping on it and doing a crap job. So I've actually decided on a schedule, and if you look on my Twitch page, it says, hey, we've got a follow from Mage D&B. If you look on my Twitch page, there's a schedule there now, which I'm planning to stick to off the top of my head. So yeah, Tuesday evenings, I'm going to do an hour of this, just a sort of studio production thing. I'm also trying, as a means of trying to make myself more productive, I'm trying to sort of make a deal with myself where on Tuesdays I will do nothing but studio as well. Because my music productivity is pretty crap. I just always seem to get busy doing other things. I mean, like lately I've had to deal with my car getting smashed up, and and at the beginning of COVID I was just panicking trying to work out how to earn some money, so I made a bunch of hot sauce and all of that. Green Spoon, thanks for the follow. But I've got the DJ set up in the loft now, so every Sunday night I'm going to be doing DJ sets, vinyl sets on Sunday night. Just digging through my vinyl collection and just I have a lot of fun doing that because it's not planned. I'm just reliving my youth and playing drum and bass I grew up listening to. And then I think I said Friday nights is when I'm going to do a proper John B drum and bass set. Sometimes it'll be a kind of themed thing. Sometimes it'll just be a John B upfront drum and bass set like I would do if I was playing in a club. This Friday I'm going to do a special electro step set. I've been meaning to do it for about a month to go alongside promoting the remasters I did of my old electro step album. I made this cassette. I can show you the cassette. Here's a quick plug. If you want to support the stream, you can go on betastore.com or my Bandcamp, and I'm selling these. They're USB sticks in a cassette, and it's got the whole electro step remastered album, all really nice artwork and stuff. That took a while to sort out. It's all the original photos and things. Yes, I'm going to do a like 2 hour or maybe more mega electro. all the follows are coming in. Oh my gosh! You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move Alan Partridge up there. He's there you go, Alan. That's nice. Yeah, so I need to get some more Twitch stuff going on, like sort out bonuses. If you subscribe, you don't get any adverts, and we need to sort of put emotes and stuff like robots. I don't know if any of you are like Twitch pros and could do a bit of emote vibes. Well, help me out with that. I think I know how to do it, but it's just a matter of finding the time, and I'd be better off making new music, to be honest. Cool. So Tuesdays is going to be studio stuff. Thursday, kind of lunchtime-ish or morning UK time, I'm going to be doing my promo listening thing, where I'm playing like new releases and stuff, and hopefully not getting banned for copyright stuff. Friday night will be drum and bass proper DJ sets, and Sunday nights is going to be vinyl sessions. And then the other thing I'm going to be doing is gaming. I don't know how that's going to go down because it's kind of off-brand, really, and I hope it doesn't negatively affect stuff. But I mean, if you tune in and I'm playing video games and you don't like video games, then you can turn it off, I suppose. As long as everyone knows when I'm doing the stuff they're interested in, then that should be good. But there's one video game I've started playing a bit. I don't have time to play video games, but once or twice a week I give myself an hour or so. And it's a PC game I play in the setup over there behind me. Oh, I can move this. Oh, I could give you a little tour of the studio with the camera. Can I do a... Let's turn off the jungle thing. Where's the jungle? There we go. There you are. I'll give you a quick video. Have we got the mic working as well? Yeah. So this is... Oh, shit. This is what we got. So I'm sitting here. This is my studio setup. I've got a temporary USB mic here that's just an easier way to do all of this. So while I've been chatting to you, I've got my iPad there looking at the chat, and this is the screen that you're seeing. And then normally that's got my mixer on, but it's got the video software. And then so I've got my keyboard with sort of, this is really old, they don't make them anymore, but it's got Logic shortcuts on. I've got little Native Instruments keyboard there. Then I've got a Apple trackpad thing, which is really useful for just scrolling. If I move my mouse, you can see I can zoom in and out. Oh, I could if I bloody had it working. Oh, that's weird, it stopped doing it. Let me in. Ah, ooh, spinning ball of death. Oh shit. Ah, no. What's going on? Oh, it's because I wasn't zoomed. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, there you go, it's doing it now. So I can kind of pinch and stuff and it will zoom in and out. So I have that on my left, but I'm still using the mouse for the stuff. And then I've got my Mackie speaker controller thing, my lovely Head Type 20 speakers, and then the acoustic panels to try and absorb some of the reflections. And then here is all my other stuff, and I slide my slidey thing there. So this is where I make music, and then down here is the heaters. That's my PC on the left, that's my old Mac Pro there in the middle, which is connected up to that top, the kind of middle of those displays. And then that's the badass Mac Pro, and then there's a fuckload of USB things going on there, but it's all very well organised. And they're sitting on this thing here that's on wheels, so I can move it in and out. Can you hear me? Yeah. And then I've got my big keyboard here. And then this is where I sort of do my day-to-day stuff. That's where I do my promo listening session stuff. And when I'm gaming, like once a week, the PC is connected into that display as well. And I can sort of stream from all of that. So it's a good setup now. Like it's a proper Twitch Pro vibe. So it'll be fun to give that a go and see if anyone's interested in actually watching me. The game I play is called Escape from Tarkov. I might have a quick session on it tonight because my wife says she has to go get the computer fired up and work later. So yep. All right. I'm going to call it a day. Thanks very much, everybody, for tuning in. I'm going to do this one. Where's the camera? I'll move it. I'll try and get a few more of these little scenes set up. That's quite fun. But thanks for tuning in, everyone. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all the follows on Twitch and the subscribe things. If you're new to Twitch and you have Amazon Prime, you've probably seen the little advert things popping up all the time. You can subscribe to my channel, and if you have Amazon Prime, you get one free Twitch subscription thing every month. And if you subscribe to my channel, I get like $1 a month or something, I think, and it doesn't cost you anything to do it. So it's easy to just sort of click and do it. So if you can, that's really cool, very helpful. If not, don't worry about it. Yeah, all right, cool. I am going to go now. I'm going to have my dinner. It's 9 o'clock.